beginning of the video, I would like to ask you a question. Are you a complainer? Do you feel persistent dissatisfaction over the same thing with no way to fix it, resulting in a hard feeling that simply won't stop? Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we'll talk about what's really bad about constant complaining for us and how to improve the situation. Without further ado, let's get started. 1. The dangers of chronic complaining. I'm so tired. I can't believe it's snowing again. She is always so nosy. Why do you always get home later than you say you will? Why don't these people get moving? Can't they see that the light is green? Have you ever heard or said a similar complaint? How many times do you think the average person complains a day? A. 2 to 5 times. B. 6 to 10 times. C. 11 to 14 times. D. 15 to 30 times. The answer is D. 15 to 30 times, which feels like a lot, right? But we hardly notice we are complaining when we do. Psychologists have found that when complaining becomes a subconscious behavior, it changes the structure of the brain and forms a deep-rooted negative habit of thinking, which will make us a chronic complainer in the long run. Chronic complaining is like a hollow that devours one's intimate relationships with others. Chronic complainers lose the patience and trust of those closest to them through constant complaining. Complaining is likely to weaken your memory and ability to improvise because the anxiety and stress of complaining can damage the nerves in the hippocampus, the area of the brain that is responsible for a person's problem-solving skills. Complaining also releases a stress hormone called cortisol. This hormone may raise a person's glycemic index and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Not only that, the brain suffers physical damage after 30 minutes of listening to complaints, whether they come from real people, television, or other sources. This is a fact that has long been proven by the research of Robert M. Sapolsky, a professor of biological and neurological sciences at Stanford University. If you complain to your college mates the course is too hard, or complain to your colleagues your clients are being unreasonable, or complain to your partner life sucks, you will not only make them feel worse, but also damage their brain. Even if you know it better, chronic complainers just can't help complaining. 2. Conversational pattern of chronic complainers. Psychologist Eric Berne calls this conversational pattern the yes but scenario. Chronic complainers often create similar scenarios in their life. For example, you're watching your weight go up every day, and you feel like you're falling apart. Others may suggest to you that you should try running. Yes, but I don't like running. You seem to like swimming, try swimming. Yes, but I have too much work and I don't have time for swimming. Then try taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Yes, but life is already hard with work, I just want to lie down when I'm not at work. Losing weight is nothing more than eating less and exercising more, control your diet first. Yes, but I just want to eat when I'm stressed. Are you in this mindset? If you are a chronic complainer, you are likely to ignore the advice given by your friends and family, no matter what they say. The reason why we complain is not to get advice on how to solve the problem, but to confirm ourselves that we have suffered injustice and misfortune, that there is nothing we can do to change it, and that it is not our fault that bad things happen to us. So we refuse the helping hand because if we take the advice of others, we are likely to lose our identity as a victim. Whether the cause is the environment, other people, or whatever, by passing the buck to them, we don't have to take responsibility for our own faults. To change comes with risks and discomfort, but incessant complaining brings goodwill. This is indeed much simpler, but in the end, it is still ourselves who bear the consequences. 3. Inspiration 4 Model of complaining. According to a university study, 75% of complaints are non-instrumental. The so-called non-instrumental is that people do not want to solve the problem by complaining, but let it happen naturally. Is non-instrumental complaining beneficial? Are there any potential benefits beyond self-affirmation? We can look at the model of complaining developed by psychologists in 1996. The model of complaining explains the decision-making process that people go through when they complain, and it is buried in our subconscious. According to this model, a person's complaint is divided into 3 processes. First, the individual focuses on himself or herself. Second, the individual discovers a discrepancy between his or her expectations and reality, then feels dissatisfied. Third, the individual begins an important decision-making process, and if the individual believes that complaining is rewarding, they will begin to complain, otherwise, they will not do so. However, in most cases, we don't even realize what we are complaining about. Many people are so unconscious when they complain that they forget to determine whether the benefits will outweigh the harm caused by the complaining. But I am not suggesting that you should not complain at all. Next time when you complain, you should evaluate the pros and cons before complaining. 4. Scenarios where the benefits outweigh the harms. There are 3 situations in which complaining is beneficial. 1. When you and your friends have a common complaint. In this scenario, it means you are self-controlled and restrained in gaining some kind of daily resonance with others. It is okay to express your emotions as long as you don't bring negative feelings to both sides. 2. When you are in self-impression management. For example, when you and the other 2 colleagues are having dinner together, they are complaining about the boss, you will look a bit out of place if you don't do so. 3. When complaining helps solve the problem. You can direct your complaints to the person concerned, which is conducive to problem solving, such as using nonviolent communication, that is, by expressing your observation, feelings, needs, and requests honestly without blame. In this way, your emotions and needs are expressed, and if the person happens to be reasonable and open, your problem could be solved. 5. How to stop complaining. If you feel like a chronic complainer and are suffering from it, what can you do to really stop? Here are a few easy ways. 1. Record complaints. Be aware of your complaints and take 10 minutes to mark them down in a complaint journal. Is the complaint a momentary outburst? Or is it a mix of hurt, anger, fear, and the need for approval from others? Exploring the intrinsic motivation of an event is the first step in resolving a complaint. 2. Assessment. Evaluate the harms and benefits of the complaint and ask yourself, is the complaint an effective solution to the problem? How will it hurt your brain, your body, and the person you are complaining about? Does what you get and what it costs satisfy you? List the pros and cons of complaining at that moment. 3. Change. Ask yourself why you are complaining now instead of changing. Are you lacking support, courage, or skills? Is there anything worth trying right now? Are you willing to face the complaints and try to solve the real problems? The essence of complaining is the non-acceptance of the present moment, and all complaints contain negative energy. When you complain, you also turn yourself into a victim. Change the status quo. We can start to change our lives by changing our consciousness. This is our video today. Please like, subscribe, comment, share the video, and let more people understand the nature of complaining. See you next time.